All right, good afternoon and welcome to this walkthrough. In this walkthrough video, I'm going to share a lot of my systematic wealth creation ebook of 500 pages, as you can see here. And I'm going to explain why this ebook is very valuable because you can actually make money from it. The thing about AI today is that it's going to become more and more powerful, especially with OpenAI and their AI agents like Operator and Deep Research. But here's the thing to understand about AI. You can't make money from AI unless you have something to sell online, right? And if you want to develop your own products, it's going to take years. And you're not even sure that your products will sell. So this ebook solves the problem of having a product to sell online, and this is a digital product so that you can sell it online at any price and your customers can download it, and you get paid through PayPal or the credit card from your customers. So in this video, I want to show you what this ebook is all about. It took me 2 weeks. I locked myself in my condo to write this ebook, like 24 hours a day almost. And it didn't take me 2 weeks. It took me like 2 decades because I had to condense everything I knew and learned about business. So that's the amazing thing you get when you buy this ebook. You get the resale rights, meaning that you can basically sell this ebook at any price, and you can pocket 100% of the profits, right? So it doesn't matter whether you sell it for $10, $20, you're going to be able to pocket 100% of the profits. So let's take a look at what this ebook is all about. So here, just information about myself. I graduated from McGill in 1999 with a Bachelor of Commerce in B2B marketing. That's a business to business marketing. So I specialize in marketing and selling to enterprise. Here on page 10, we start with systematic wealth creation. So the reason why I gave it this title is that, most people, when they work in a job, they're not focused on wealth. If they were focused on wealth, they wouldn't, pay too much attention to their salary, because money or cash is not wealth. Wealth comes from assets. And so this ebook teaches you how to focus on acquiring and building assets which will generate income. Now, of course, a paycheck is very good. It's just that a paycheck or money is just going to take care of your living expenses in the short term. It's not going to take care of you in the long term. So to have financial freedom or financial abundance, you have to focus on assets, and this is something we're going to teach in this ebook. I talk about systematic because you can't rely on yourself to become rich, because if you could become rich by yourself or with your person, with your skill set, you'd be rich by now. But chances are, if you're not a millionaire, at least, then you don't have a system. So this ebook is showing you how to create a system under capitalism, under business. And I'll talk more about the difference between capitalism and business. But capitalism is briefly is the game. It's the global game. It's going on everywhere, even in socialist countries like Vietnam or China. They have adopted capitalism, and most people don't understand what capitalism is all about. So that's what we explain in this book. And business is different from capitalism because there is only one capitalism all over the world, but there are millions of different businesses, and there are dozens of different business models. So that's the difference between a business and capitalism. Think of capitalism as a coliseum where you have gladiators, and every business is like a gladiator who is fighting in the arena. And of course, like any gladiator, you could die, but you can also achieve glory when you go into business. But once again, you need training, and that's what this ebook is all about. So moving on. So here I'm just explaining capitalism and the history, which is very important for people to understand. So you can just go through it, the banking, financial capital, what it is. Keep in mind that all of this knowledge has been distilled from my readings and research, and I've read about 1,000 business books, mostly business, but it's all nonfiction. I don't read fiction. And so the slides and what you're getting here, it may seem like 500 pages is a lot, but each page is like a slide, so you can read it quickly. You can discuss with your friends, your connections, your family. But 500 pages is not a lot, because it's summarizing like 1,000 business books that I've read in my life, in my career. Okay, so here's the first interesting diagram on page 33. And this is really the game of capitalism that most people don't know about. And I think that this is one of the crucial diagrams that will enlighten you, that will wake you up to the game of capitalism. Because if you don't know the game of capitalism, then you cannot play that game. And therefore, if you don't play, you're a loser by default. Now, the thing is that if your parents were not business owners, they're employees, then they're not likely to teach you how to play the game of capitalism. And this is something that Robert Kiyosaki talks about in his book series, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, where he talks about, his own dad, who was a teacher, but he was an employee. He didn't understand the game of capitalism. And his best friend's dad was a business owner. And his best friend's dad was the rich dad that taught him about capitalism. And Robert Kiyosaki's teaching is very for beginners, but you have to go through that door. You have to understand his book, The Cash Flow Quadrant, and I'm going to summarize for you that book as well. But the idea here is that if you don't understand the game of capitalism and how to score, how to score points, how to increase your capabilities under capitalism, how to identify obstacles, external and internal obstacles, then you're going to lose under the game of capitalism. It's really that simple. But I think that once you start playing the game of capitalism at the beginning, like in any sport, you're going to lose. But if you have a good teacher like myself, then I can teach you, I can coach you on how to play the game of capitalism and how to win. So basically what happens here in this diagram is that we see, we see most people are really here. So your friends, your family on Facebook, on LinkedIn, they're mostly here. And they're either happy, which is good, or they're okay, which is, I think, the majority of people, or they are stressed and they're unhappy. And, unhappy here might be even better than being okay or happy. Why? Because if you're unhappy, then you're more likely to move on to the next stage, which is to create products, and then create products, and then you can market your products. And I'm going to teach you more about that. Because if you're happy, you're going to stay there. I mean, it's human nature. If it ain't broken, don't fix it, right? Or if you're okay, you won't have the motivation to become an entrepreneur. That's why I think my theory, and it's been proven by many marketing experts like Jay Abraham and Ryan Deiss, they are going to Asia. Why? Because in Asia, oftentimes people cannot find a regular job, right? So they have to go into business, and they need trainers like Jay Abraham and Ryan Deiss. So my theory is that I'm probably going to have more buyers of this ebook and training related to this ebook in developing countries, because they don't have like corporate jobs. In the West, a lot of people are okay, or they're happy, they're taken care of by their employer, and therefore they don't really have the motivation to become entrepreneurs. But that's okay. I'm not judging anyone. If you're happy with your job, with your salary, that's fine. That's your path. I'm not trying to force or convince anyone to do anything. It's just that I'm more focused on people who are not making a lot of money right now, or who are making a good salary in their job, but they're not happy. So these are the people that I'm targeting in this ebook. And so when you buy this ebook, you probably want to target people who are not happy in their jobs. And it's not going to be easy, because people will show a certain face, especially on Facebook. They want to show you everything's going fine. They show pictures of themselves on vacation with their family, and most of the time it's just gesturing. It's just social posturing. They're just showing you a certain image to to convince themselves and their ego that everything's fine. I have a great life. I have a great relationship, marriage, kids, etc. But when you look at really what's going on in their lives, they're not happy. And we know this because there was a survey done that was asking employees how they felt about their jobs. And one question the researchers put is that the question was, are you unhappy in your job, but you project the image of someone who is happy, but deep inside you're very unhappy about your job? And the researchers noticed that when people got to that question, they began crying. They began crying because they were facing the truth. The truth is that they're not happy at work, but they pretend to be happy. They're showing a happy face, even though they're really unhappy. And so they broke down emotionally. So at some point, I hope that if you're unhappy in your job, you're unhappy with your finances, you're financially struggling, you begin to be honest about it, and you can try to find a solution. And that's why I'm very positive and very confident that this ebook is going to sell like hotcakes, because it's not just the ebook, and we're just at page 33. I have so much to teach you. It's not just the ebook. You're going to have access to a library of all my videos and audios, so I can train you and coach you. So it's not just an ebook. It's a whole library that contains everything that I know. I'm not going to hold back, and because I want you to be happy. But of course, if you're unhappy, if you're financially struggling, you got to be honest. Nobody can teach you, nobody can coach you, nobody can correct your behavior, unless you admit to yourself that, look, I'm unhappy, I want to make more money, I deserve to make more money. That's what I believe. You deserve to make probably at least 10 times the amount of money you're currently making. So it's really, and we're going to cover that later on. It's the inner game. There are things you believe about yourself, about business, about capitalism, but it's not true. So there's a saying, it's not what you don't know that gets you into trouble, it's what you know that just ain't so. In other words, a lot of people have the mistaken belief about capitalism. I'm not even sure that investors and business people understand what capitalism is, but they understand it enough to succeed in business. But most people have no idea what capitalism is all about, and especially the people who complain about rich people, who occupy Wall Street, who complain about billionaires. They just don't understand capitalism. Under capitalism, you can create as much money as you want, and in 99.99% of cases, you're not taking away money from anyone. It's just that when you show up, especially today with YouTube, Zoom, with LinkedIn, with Facebook, when you show up and you teach people something useful, they're going to pay you, right? And they're going to pay you, and they're going to be happy to pay you, because the information might be free online, but nobody has time to search, hundreds of websites to find information. And in this particular case, I've distilled, 1,000 business books and my experience starting 5 companies where I successfully created products. I distill everything into 500 slides, not even pages, right? These are slides. You can see that the fonts are really big, and I charge people like anywhere from $1 to $97 to have all of my knowledge. But you have to admit that you're either unhappy or you're financially struggling. You have to stop denying the truth, because a lot of people, they might be unhappy, but they might show a face. Oh, I'm okay. I'm doing fine. They look around them and they see their friends and their family. Everyone has a job. But I'm telling you in this book that having a job is not the way to becoming rich, because if it was the way, you'd be rich by now. You'd be financially free. But what's happening is that people don't understand the game of capitalism, and therefore they keep having a job, even those people who are very happy with the job, but they never get rich, because all of these games, are not accessible to them. They don't even see that there's a possibility to create products and, launch a business from their products, and then make enough money to become investors. They don't even see that, right? They just see whatever you see in the yellow boxes right here. So this ebook is unique because it is the only ebook of its kind that is showing people what exactly is the game of capitalism and how you can create your own business so that you can generate income on demand. And I really mean it. You can generate income on demand. You don't have to work so hard to satisfy your boss or your employer to get a paycheck. Of course, I'm not saying that a paycheck is bad. It's good only in the short term. Nobody ever gets rich with a paycheck. This is one of the fundamental messages of this ebook. Okay, moving on. So I talk more about invisible knowledge, how you can capture it, including knowledge from other people. Here I show again with the yellow circles, all the games that you could be playing. I explain step by step in this ebook. So here, this is the cash flow quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. I think I should put his name. The cash flow quadrant is where Robert talks about the 4 quadrants. You have the employees here, and they can only be in one of 3 categories. And then you have the freelancers. I don't really agree with Robert regarding the freelancers, because the freelancers, or he calls them self-employed, they're just like employees. The only difference is that they don't have work. So the freelancers typically work twice as hard because they have to go out there and network and shake a lot of hands to find contracts, and then they have to do the work. So they're working twice as hard as the employees. The employees don't have to find work because their boss will always give them work. So being a freelancer is usually not a good place to be. Now, of course, there are cases where a freelancer, like a consultant, is charging like 4 times what an employee is getting. So it's worth it to become a freelancer. And also sometimes, like if you're a parent, you want to stay home, you want to have freedom, you don't want a 9 to 5 rigid schedule. You might want to become a freelancer because you have the freedom. That's what free here means. You have freedom. But I don't see that as a viable option. Instead of becoming a freelancer, if you're smart, you might as well become a business owner. It's not that different. So a lot of times people become freelancers. Like I have students who try freelancing, it doesn't work, and then they go back to becoming an employee, or with my training they can become business owners. They can go straight to this quadrant on the upper right hand. And of course, to become an entrepreneur, you need one thing. You need a product. And that's what this ebook is all about. This ebook gives you lifetime the legal right for the rest of your life to sell this ebook so that you can make money from it. So you don't have to create your own product. It's going to take you years. Trust me, you're not going to make it. It's better to take a product that exists already, like this ebook, and start selling it. And once you make a lot of money, especially passive income from this ebook, then you can invest your money like what I'm doing right now with the publicly traded companies and Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I wrote this ebook in 2011 to really put down on paper or in a computer everything that I knew. And since 2011, I've been very successful because I'm just implementing everything that I wrote in this ebook. I became a teacher, a creator, a software programmer, and now I'm financially independent. I don't have to work for anybody else. I'm still working for myself, but I have freedom, and that's what I want for people who are reading this ebook. So here I talk about what people typically do in one of the 4 diagrams. Here, employees will do the minimum. It's not because, usually it's not because people are lazy. It's just that why work more when you're getting the same amount of money, right? So people try to do the minimum, and this is really the worst attitude ever. But again, it's not because people are lazy. Usually it's just that, hey, my paycheck is the same, so why do I have to work more, right? So it's not a good game. Here you're getting a lot of contracts, but you're running all over the place and you're getting tired. So it's not a good place to be. This is a good place to be. You're designing or you're building assets, and these days with ChatGPT and especially DeepSeek, it's easier than ever to create assets. Whether it's Python code, software programs, ebooks, video courses, you can create anything with artificial intelligence today. And of course, you have to execute. We have from OpenAI AI agents like Operator and Deep Research. So AI can even execute a lot of tasks for you. So it's getting so easy to launch your own business with AI, that soon enough, most people will just quit being a loser, being an employee, and they will quit running around chasing contracts. It's not a good place to be, friends. Trust me. You want to be here. You want to be an entrepreneur, and of course, finally, you can buy undervalued businesses, etc. But even if you missed, the Tesla and the Nvidia and the Bitcoin revolution, it's okay. You don't have to become an investor, because if you're a business owner, you can just print money on demand. You can just sell your digital good or goods, especially like this ebook. You sell it to millions of people. They pay you online, and the money goes to your bank account. It doesn't get any easier than that. Okay, I've been talking for 20 minutes. Let's continue. So here I reuse the cash flow quadrant, but I explained that on this side you don't have any leverage. For example, employees in Montreal. This is from 2016. So with inflation, maybe it's a little bit more. But in Montreal, like, women make around $40,000 and men make about $14,000 more. Now, it doesn't mean that there's inequality, because sometimes women will work less hours, or they will, they will not accept a management position because they want to, take care of their children, their family, etc. So please don't conclude that this 14K is automatically social injustice. It could be, but it's not automatic. You have to look at other factors. It's not just gender. It could be that men are more aggressive, I don't know, but in both cases they are losers, because they don't have any leverage in their job. They're just working at one job and they're getting one paycheck. Freelancers are even worse. They're making less than 30,000 per year in Quebec. So if you want to get rich, you have to get leverage, and you have to grow your leverage. So here Newsweek had a study made, and they discovered that, statistically speaking, if you have a business, you have a 1 in 1,000 chance of becoming a millionaire, of having a net worth of $1 million. Now, the interesting thing about these statistics is that this is on average, right? For one person, it could be 1 in 10,000. For another person, it could be 1 in 100. But the interesting thing is that you can always improve your odds of success. Like, if you're selling this ebook or digital goods that have been proven to sell, then your chances of becoming a millionaire is much higher. But it's any chance of becoming a millionaire is better than here. Here you have zero chance of becoming a millionaire, zero, unless you've been working for 40 years and you're saving like mad. But like I said, friends, don't stay on the left hand side where there's no leverage, right? And you cannot get rich. You're going to be working so hard, 40 plus hours every week, to enrich the business owners, the shareholders. You are not going to get rich. And this is something I realized like in June 2000. I have a business degree, right? So I realized, wait a minute, I'm making a lot of money for this company. Why am I staying in corporate Canada? So I made the quiet decision to just quit my job, and that was 25 years ago. And that it was difficult financially at the beginning, but after that it got easier once I understood the game of capitalism and business. And so this ebook, the goal of this ebook is to explain to you what business is all about, so that you can play the game. And like I said at the beginning, it's going to be challenging, but after a while you're gonna become a winner. When you play on the right hand side at the beginning, you have a chance of becoming a winner. So I want to make this very clear. You're not going to become a winner right away when you go into business. That's not, unless you're Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or Michael Dell, but those guys are savages, right? Most people are not that talented. I'm not that talented. I failed many times in business. So when you go from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, you have to expect a certain learning curve. You have to expect a certain amount of adversity, and you have to go through the tribulations and fail and fail and fail, and you have to keep going. I was at a family gathering, and my cousin was talking about his adventure in business, and my siblings too, and he said something that really shocked me. He said, because everyone in my family, almost everyone, tried their hand in business, and my cousin said, yeah, we've all been there. And when he said that, it shocked me because it's like as if he was saying that everyone tries their hand in business, they fail, and then they move on, and then they become an employee. And it shocked me because the insight is that when people fail in business, they give up, right? They give up, and then they go back to a job, and that's very common. Now, why does that happen? It's because when people go into business, they expect to make money right away, but they have the wrong mentality, the wrong attitude. When you go into business, you're not going to make money. You're going to lose money, and then you're going to lose more money, and then you're going to lose more money, and then at one point, you know, you learn so much about business that you can only win. It's a little bit like SpaceX under Elon Musk. They failed their rocket launch like 3 times, and by the time they got to the 4th rocket launch, I think it was, I don't know if it was a Falcon Heavy, but by the time they got to the 4th rocket launch, Elon was saying that this is the last launch. Like, we don't have any money left. If this fails, the company is kaput. But miraculously, or maybe scientifically, it succeeded. And now SpaceX is a huge success story. But what we can learn is that you fail once, you fail twice, you fail 3 times, and you keep going. You keep going, and that's what defines a winner. A winner is not, especially in business, it's not someone who is so talented that when he tries something the first time, he's going to succeed. No, a winner is someone who keeps failing, keeps losing money, loses more money, and then at one point, he discovers something because he's so persistent, he's so determined. He discovers something, a kind of edge or an unfair competitive advantage, and then he succeeds. And then everyone thinks that, oh, the guy is lucky, blah, blah, blah. But no, he's not lucky. He's persistent because he kept losing, but he never gave up. He never gave up. But the people who try their hand in business, they're more like tourists, right? They just want to, I just want to see, it's like buying a lottery ticket. Of course, you're not going to win, but you have to keep playing the game. And so a lot of people, including my siblings, nothing against them, I'm not judging anybody's path, but they try their hand in business once and they fail, and then they go back to becoming an employee. Now, the good thing is that when you fail in business, people psychologically decide that no, business is not for me, so you know what, I'm going to become an employee. I might be okay as an employee. I don't control my schedule, I don't control my income. I have to play the office politics game, but you know what, I don't have a choice because I'm not good in business. And that is totally the wrong conclusion. To say that you're not good in business is like, okay, let me put it this way. It's like you're trying to learn how to ride a bike, and then you fell off the bike, and then you hurt yourself a little bit, and your conclusion is, I'm not made for riding bikes. I cannot learn, so I might as well go back to taking the bus or the metro and let somebody else determine my fate. And it's very much like that, or it's like a toddler who's learning how to walk for the first time, and he falls down on his face, and so he concludes that he can't walk ever, and then he goes back to crawling on all 4. I mean, he's crawling on the floor. I mean, I know this might sound offensive, and I apologize, but people who fail in business and who go back to becoming an employee, they fail because they don't understand the game of business. They don't understand how to score. They don't understand how to increase their business capabilities. They don't understand the obstacles that are facing them because they don't even have a business plan. Like people who go into business who don't have a business plan, forget it, friend, forget it. You don't have a business plan, you're going to fail because, the saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. So when I talk to an entrepreneur and ask him, do you have a business plan? And they say no, well, they're going to fail. So I might as well, you might as well get a job. So anyways, people fail in business and they go back to becoming an employee. And sometimes they could become very unhappy employees, but, they accept their fate because, they conclude mistakenly, they conclude that business is not for them. So this ebook is attempting to teach you that business is a natural thing. Business is about taking care of other people, in this case your customers. If you can take care of other people, and especially if you're a parent, trust me, business is much easier than taking care of your young children, much easier. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Um, Here I talk about, okay, same thing. So this ebook is sharing with you a lot of insights. Like you can go through these slides, and learn, from my summaries. Let's go to the next powerful diagram. I think this one. So in a similar manner, I'm leveraging Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. And what I'm saying here is that you have labor people who are working, working, working. And the funny thing is that people hang on to their jobs. We have AI related discussions these days, and everyone is afraid. Almost everyone is afraid. Oh, I'm gonna lose my job. I'm not gonna be able to labor anymore. But that's not the point. You cannot get rich with labor. There's a saying I came across. Actually, it's a cartoon, and it's a rich capitalist who looks like the guy in the game Monopoly, and he says, "I'm a friend of the working man, and I'd rather be his friend than be one." So, in other words, rich people do not think about labor. Rich people create jobs for other people. Rich people create leverage. They are always thinking about how can I, input 1 unit of effort and get more than 1 unit of result. That's leverage. You put in 1 unit of effort, and in terms of results you're getting 5 results. That's leverage. On the contrary, people who are workers, they put 1 unit of effort and they get just 1 paycheck, and that's the only paycheck they get. Or if they're paid per hour, that's the only money that they're going to get. But when you're in business here, you're selling to one customers, to a group of customers, you turn around and you sell to another group, you turn around and you sell to another group. That's leverage. It's very much like this ebook. When you buy this ebook and you resell it to one person, you can resell it to 20, 50, a million people. It's leverage because this ebook is digital. You don't have to ship anything. You don't have to take care of logistics or put on stamps. No, people just buy this ebook, they download it right away, and you make money even while you're sleeping. Okay, let me try to find the next. Okay, here another distinction between the labor people on this side and the leverage people on this side. Here people are more like hunters, right? You have a weapon, you go out there, and that's why we call it job hunting. A job is like an elephant or some mammal you're trying to shoot. But here the mentality is different. You're more like a gardener. Now, I've worked long enough in my mother's garden to see the magic of gardening. I'm helping my mother to plant seeds and to tomatoes and carrots and all of that, and within a few weeks there's an overabundance of vegetables growing in her garden. So I've learned firsthand the power of gardening. Hunting is good in the short term, right? If you have a wife, she expects you to bring the bacon home, so to speak, right? It's good in the short term, but in the long term, you want to be a gardener because that's where the magic of nature takes over and you're making more and more money without having to work so hard. So let me talk about this last diagram. And guys, this is only slide 111. I have like about 400 slides to share with you, and that's why you can see in this walkthrough video that this ebook contains extremely valuable knowledge. I've been selling it for $1 because I want to help people in developing countries, but I have to respect my knowledge, and it's going to go back to $97 Canadian or about $65 US, because when you buy this ebook, you automatically get the resale rights for life. And the great thing is that I wrote this ebook in 2011, and today in 2025, 14 years later, everything I wrote here still applies. So, the knowledge that you find in this ebook is timeless. It's classic. It's never going to change. It doesn't matter what OpenAI does or DeepSeek, what they do with AI. This knowledge, this business and capitalism knowledge is never going to change. So when you buy this ebook, you're buying an asset that will generate income for you and for your family for the rest of your life. In the future, of course, I might change this ebook, the second edition, the third edition. I might create a video course, but the knowledge that you find in this ebook is timeless. Okay, so here the interesting thing is that instead of talking about cash flow quadrants, I show everything in the form of a stairway. In other words, it's not an insurmountable mountain. You can actually go up, step by step. So you can actually become an investor here at the top, but you have to proceed step by step. So what's happening is that when you're a job seeker, of course, you need to find a job. And it's going to be harder and harder to find a job these days, especially because employer organizations are going to rely on AI and AI agents. And also they will make sure that their current employees will be more productive through AI agents. So my feeling is that it's going to be hard for recent graduates to find work. So, this is where it could be a problem for you if you're under 25. But, the good news is that if you cannot find a job, you can actually go straight to becoming an entrepreneur with AI. And then when you create a product, and by the way, you have to create multiple products, and one of them will succeed. Your first product is most likely going to fail unless you're a genius like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs. So it's going to fail. So once you create a product with AI, then you can create a business from that product. But you have to create a product first. A lot of people, they try to create a business, but they don't have a product. So they're skipping a step and they're usually failing. So here I talk about, in the book, if you read it, I talk about the 3 critical processes, marketing, sales, and production. That's what a business is all about. And once your business is successful, you're producing consistent cash flow. And it's the consistency of cash flow that is important. Whether you're making $1,000 per month or $5,000 or even $500 per month, that is more important than the amount of money you're making, because that's how investors evaluate the viability and the sustainability of your business. So if in your business 1 month you're making $1,000, next month you're making $5,000, next month you're making $200, that's not a good business because it's not predictable, right? So when I talk about cash flow, it's not how much cash flow, but how consistent your cash flow is. Now, I explain in this book a lot of these concepts that I didn't even learn at McGill University, and I spent over $15,000 and 3 years of my life, which I'm never going to get back. And I didn't learn any of this. That's why, like I'm telling you, this ebook is so valuable, and I'm taking the time to go through this ebook so that you understand that even with just one diagram, I can create a whole webinar based on this one slide out of 500 slides. It's so valuable. The only good news at McGill, where I spent 3 years, is that I met and dated a lot of beautiful girls from the management. The management girls are very aggressive. They don't wait for you to ask them out. They ask you out. Like 5 girls asked me out. And not at the same time, but and they're very aggressive. But anyways, that's the only good memory I got from McGill in 1996 to 1999. Anyways, this book is worth more than an MBA. That's why I have a special promotion. I call it the $1 MBA, because for certain people who qualify, I'm selling this resellable ebook for only $1. Resellable means that you can resell this ebook and pocket all the profits. I don't get any of it. So anyways, moving on here, I talk about how you have to go from physicality to intellectuality. You have to learn how to think. That's really crucial. It's not about doing things, it's about thinking and strategizing. It's all happening in your mind, but most people, there's a study that showed that the typical American, the average American, reads 1 nonfiction book per year. The average chief executive officer reads, guess how much? 50 or more nonfiction books per year. So you can see quite clearly that the more books you read, the greater your chance of becoming a financially successful person. So that's slide 118, and there are so many slides here I want to show you, and I'm repeating the slides because it's important to memorize and to visually get an impression of this diagram so that you can see that you might be here, but it's not a bad thing, because now you know where you are. You know that the next step is to create a product, and then to create a business from the product, and then to stabilize your cash flow, and try to inject more capital. That's what capitalization is all about. And try to clone your processes, your systems, your franchise. That's how you multiply your income. And eventually you're going to become an investor, because you know enough about business. You know how to choose the right businesses, because you've gone through the process. So it really requires thinking, but most people are not really thinking, and that's the problem that I'm trying to solve in this ebook. So René Descartes, the famous French philosopher, said, "I think, therefore I am." I say, "I think, therefore I aim." If you're a thinking person, you have to have goals. And most people, unfortunately, 95% of the population, they don't have written goals. They have wishes, they have wants, desires, but they don't have a written goal. They don't write down what they're aiming for, and that's why they don't get what they're aiming for. Harv Eker wrote a book, one of the top 10 business books I've ever read, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And Harv Eker says that most people don't get what they want in life because they don't know what they want in life. So what is it that you want in life? You have to write it down, exactly what you want in life, in order for you to get it. Especially, when it comes to your financial goal, it has to be written down. How much money do you want to make a year? And you have to write it down and keep working towards that goal. Here I talk about the 5 personalities, and I'm going to stop here, but the ebook talks about how most people only develop their employee personality. They might become very good employee. I was an exceptionally good employee in the year 2000, but I left that position in corporate Canada because I wanted to explore my creator personality. I created like over 40 different workshops and 15-week courses for colleges and universities. So I became a creator of courses and ebooks and software programs. And then I became an entrepreneur, meaning someone who is very, very aggressive and goes to the market to offer his products and services. But an entrepreneur is not yet a business owner. It's someone who is trying to become a business owner. It's like a rocket, right? An entrepreneur is someone who has a lot of energy to be able to lift the rocket off the ground against the force of gravity. So you have to be an entrepreneur to do that. You have to have a great deal of energy. And once your rocket is in orbit, you become a business owner or a capitalist, and eventually you become an investor. I believe that anyone with a normal IQ can explore and exploit the 5 personalities, the 5 economic personalities inside of them. There are other psychological personalities too, but there's basically only 5 economic personalities. And if you're only an employee, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table, because the creator, the entrepreneur, the business owner, and the investor in you are sleeping. They never awaken, right? So it's important to understand how to awaken these 5 personalities and how to give them jobs, how to delegate jobs to them so that they all work to make you, at least 10 times more money. All right, so in the rest of the book, I talk about how you can capture the lost potential. Let me see if there is another diagram that I can share with you. Yeah, so basically, this is a walkthrough of the ebook. Every slide is very important. I thought a great deal about the content. Every word is important. And like I said, even today, 14 years later, everything in this book is still valid. The knowledge is still valid. It is that robust. Here I talk about how you should use both sides of your brain, because the educational system usually focuses on the left brain, right? Like mathematics, linguistics. It doesn't focus on the right brain. Yeah, there are art classes and musical courses, but that's not the main focus of the educational system in most developed countries. So that's why your right brain is not really used, and that's why you don't have a product to sell. You don't have a product to sell because you don't know how to create a product. So that's something that I teach you how to do later on when I talk about product creation. So anyways, guys, this was a very casual walkthrough of this ebook that has tremendous value. Once you buy it, you can share it with your family, your kids, your friends. You can sell it to your LinkedIn connections, and anyone who buys this ebook can send me their questions. I would be happy to answer. Usually I answer through a video so that all the readers and the buyers of this ebook will benefit, but you have a direct connection to me, the author, and therefore, I will make sure that you understand every single slide in this ebook so that you're well equipped to succeed in your career, but especially in your business. That's the goal. It's really to turn you into a business owner, a capitalist, and you don't have a choice. Either you become a capitalist or you remain a slave who is working for capitalists. And I really don't want my friends, my family to remain a slave. To me, an employee is a slave, not like the slaves in the U.S. Prior to Civil War, but you're still a slave because you don't control your time. Every day or 5 days a week, you have to work for somebody else, and the people who are getting rich are the capitalists over here. But to be angry or to protest against capitalism, it's not the right move. They're just doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is to play the game of capitalism. They're not stealing money from anyone. Well, most of them, anyways. They're just creating value for more and more people, and as a result, they're getting compensated. And that's the beauty of Canada, the U.S., and any developed country. You can learn how to play the game of capitalism, but unfortunately, even business schools are not teaching people how to play the game. Like, I went to McGill University. It's supposed to be a business school, faculty of management, but the only thing they taught me is how to think like a manager, how to manage a business function like sales management, marketing, etc., operations, how to manage a business function for a capitalist. They didn't teach me how to create a whole business from scratch, and that's why I'm writing this book, because I'm teaching you what my professors failed to teach me. Now, I'm not judging, their professors, they're academics. I had only 2 business professors who really taught me, actually only one, Sharon Galeen, a Jewish woman who was known as a turnaround CEO. She would buy a struggling business and she would turn it around and set it on the path to profitability. But when I took one of her courses, I think it was sales management, I decided to take 2 other courses with her, because she was so good. But even when you take you enroll in a digital marketing program or a business school, you're not going to learn what I'm teaching you in this ebook, because it's about business engineering. It's about creating a business from scratch. When you study digital marketing or business, you're not learning how to create a business from scratch. You're learning to, let's say, manage email campaigns for a business that exists already, that is successful already. But in this ebook, I want to teach you how to start a business from scratch, from zero. But it starts with your psychological transformation so that you can become a creator, and then you can create a viable business that will always produce more and more money while you're working less and less, because you're leveraging systems, you're leveraging AI and AI agents, etc. So anyways, guys, I had a lot of fun sharing this ebook with you, and you can see that this is only slide number 243. There is so much knowledge in this ebook, and I hope that you grab a copy so that you can learn, and you can also resell this ebook to anyone online, and you can make money. So that's my wish for you. That's why I wrote this ebook. And so I hope you benefited from this walkthrough, and I'll talk to you more in the next video.